Hey, how's it going? You might have guessed from the title what I'm going to talk about, but before that, if you aren't subscribed to my channel, then what are you playing at? Okay? If you're a guitarist and you want to hear my original songs, you like seeing cover versions, click the subscribe button. This is where it's at, Khan might say.
Khan might say.
So, Coldplay. Now, the thing about Coldplay is that the early stuff is great. I really love it. And it's my favourite stuff. And the later stuff isn't as good. But they always come up with a song that is absolutely amazing. Like, pretty consistently over all their albums. And there's at least one song that I love. Let's get into Coldplay. So their first album, Parachutes, released in 2000. I was still at university. And it's my favourite Coldplay album. Pretty much goes all downhill from there. That's not to say that the subsequent albums don't have quality stuff on them. It's just Parachutes is just the best album. I love every song on it. I think there's only 10 songs and then a secret hidden track at the end, which if you skip past Everything Is Not Lost, you'll discover. It's called Life Is For Living, and even that song is great. It's only like a minute long, but even that is good. I remember going on holiday to Rhode Island in Greece in 2002, July, and Parachutes was playing every single morning at the hotel that I was at, out of the swimming pool speakers, so the speakers that were placed around the swimming pool. And that's where our room was, pretty much, and every morning Parachutes was playing. Very strange because it's not a very holiday album, it's not a very party album, it's quite downbeat, it's quite lo-fi, and I just remember hearing that every morning. So the standout tracks, Don't Panic, the first song, obviously Yellow, Trouble, everyone knows the classic singles, but the last three songs, and there's a song called Spies is absolutely brilliant, and the last three songs, High Speed, We Never Change, Everything Is Not Lost, I love those last three songs. Possibly three of the best songs to close an album. I absolutely love, and I think Chris Martin, this is what he's really good at, is the suspended acoustic guitar chords. So there'd be like the top E and the B would be like ringing out, but also there's a particular tuning that he does on the guitar, and which gives his songwriting and the chords that you hear a particular flavour. And it's just it's Coldplay, it's Chris Martin. Parachutes has that sound, and it's brilliant. It's as good as Coldplay get. Their next album, A Rush of Blood to the Head, is kind of like in a similar vein to Parachutes, melodically rich, lots of different varieties of songs, a good sound that kind of carries on the same vein. And for me, I don't like every single song on it, but they're standout tracks. God Put a Smile Upon My Face, The Scientist, which I did a cover of, and you can check that out if you want. Green Eyes, love that song. Clocks, which I think got them lots of attention in America, and Daylight is really good, and A Rush of Blood to the Head, the title song, which I really love as well. I'd say it's probably my joint second favourite Coldplay album, joint with the next album, XLII. Now, the band's sound noticeably changed. You can hear that there's more atmospheric synth stuff going on. It's a bigger sound. You can hear it's kind of like the first phase of Coldplay with their first two albums and their B-sides was a particular sound, and with XLII it sort of changed and evolved into a bigger one. So again, some really good songs on this album. Square One, the opening song, absolutely love that song. What If, and then you've got Swallowed in the Sea, Talk, Speed of Sound, The Hardest Part. And I think with this album they really started to become big in America, probably with the previous album leading up to this as well. I'm not saying that when he married Gwyneth Paltrow that's the reason they became big in America, but it definitely gave the band a lot more exposure globally, but especially in America. And because they are a good band and they got all that exposure, they had lots of success. I think it's worth saying at this stage as well that their B-sides have been absolutely amazing. So I've mentioned before great B-side bands, and great B-side bands, The Smiths, Oasis, Radiohead, they're right up there. Coldplay, for the first 2 albums, it seemed like, so with Oasis, for example, Noel Gallagher, it felt like every song he wrote for the first 3 albums, definitely maybe Morning Glory, Be Here Now, possibly you could even argue Standing on the Shoulder of Giants, just every song that they recorded and released just was just of a certain really, really high standard. It was just great. So naturally the B-sides are going to be really, really good. And for the first 2 Coldplay albums, I think everything Chris Martin wrote, everything that was coming out creatively for him was just gold, was just brilliant. Like, you've got my favourite B-side, I would have to say, though, is See You Soon. See You Soon is just such a beautiful song. The chords are great. It's just an acoustic guitar and voice, and then a little bit of keyboards and stuff, and it's just a beautiful song. You've got loads. Easy to Please, For You, Crest of Waves, Bigger, Stronger, Help Is Around the Corner, Only Superstition. I mean, those first 2, and then you've got like good B-sides after that as well, like Gravity, which is a song that Embrace did. I think Chris Martin gave it to them, and then he did his own released their own Coldplay version later. Other B-sides worth mentioning are Careful Where You Stand, One I Love, and 136, which is like probably the rockiest Coldplay song. I recommend listen to that. It's just only 2 minutes long. It's 1.36. That's really good. Has Simon Pegg shouting "yeah" at the end, like a succession of yeahs. Interesting fact for you there. If I could sum up what I love about Coldplay, it is their melodies. I guess like with any band really, well, I think with your favourite bands, the melodies are the most important part of the song in my opinion, and the lyrics come after that. But so those distinctive Chris Martin lyrics and melodies, and the first 3 albums I think have, and the B-sides as well, have that in abundance, and that is Coldplay. So like that is what I love about Coldplay. And then I have to say, with the next album, Viva La Vida or Death and All His Friends, by the way, what the hell is that about? How can you call an album something or something else? It's really weird. Viva La Vida or Death and All His Friends. You decide. Anyway, with this album, for me, there's a decline in the number of quality tracks on it. I'd have to say probably like under half the album I listened to. I like Cemeteries of London. I don't like Lost, the full band version, but the piano version, which was released as a B-side and I think as a bonus track as well on the album, that is amazing. I mean, Lost is a great song, but like the full band version doesn't do it justice, but just the piano and his voice it's amazing. Love that. And then you've got Yes is a very interesting song, and Violet Hill, which I have done a cover of, which also is a great song. That's an old song that was kicking around for a while, and they put it on the back burner and then decided to put it on Viva La Vida. So with Viva La Vida, the band decided to try and do stuff in a variety of different styles, and they're starting to sound like a bit more like U2 as well, and like not good U2, like modern U2, like not good U2. Viva La Vida, the song itself, not a fan of. I just can't get on board with those lyrics. There's lots of praying and religious references. Jerusalem bells, Roman cavalry, St. Peter calling your name. Yeah. No thanks, mate. Now, after Viva La Vida, for me, as a Coldplay fan, this is where it all starts to go wrong. The next 2 albums are pretty bad. And the reason for that, for me, is that I don't find that there are any distinct Coldplay kind of songs on there. Like, there's no like distinct Chris Martin melodies or any really memorable guitar hooks that Johnny Buckland would write, or anything it all seems like it could be written by anyone. This was very generic stuff. I don't want to be too harsh, but like, it's not why I love Coldplay. I think the album won them lots of new fans because they did drastically change their sound. It was not my cup of tea at all. I mean, I can't remember a single song. I can't tell you anything off it that I like. And then we have Ghost Stories. Now, this album, I will have to say, I think I listened to it once. It's very depressing. It's about his split with Gwyneth Paltrow. And although the theme of Ghost Stories is interesting, the melodies are not very memorable, not very good. Again, quite generic. And it's just the lyrical theme is just too repetitive. All I know is I love you so, or I couldn't choose anyone but you. And when you get to like the 5th song and that's still what it's about, it kind of gets really boring. It didn't resonate with me at all, the theme of the album. I also read that the band experimented with a different way of writing. So they would usually write with Chris Martin coming up with an idea for a song, and then it would build from there. But he encouraged everyone to try and contribute creatively and maybe come up with their own ideas for a song. Whatever it was, it didn't work, I don't think, not for me. But I know that Chris Martin can write a tune, and he can write some absolutely brilliant songs. And thankfully, some of that came back on A Head Full of Dreams, which is their latest album, released December 2015. And what I was saying at the beginning, with Coldplay always come up with a song that sticks with you, even though maybe all their albums and all their stuff throughout the whole discography isn't consistently good. There is that song, and that song is Adventure of a Lifetime. And it's like almost goes straight into my top 15, at least, Coldplay songs. Really catchy guitar hook, cool melody, good lyrics, good song, makes you want to dance. I love it. It's a brilliant song, really, really good. And as for the members of Coldplay, you have Chris Martin, who comes up with most of the melodic and lyrical ideas and stuff for songs, and that's probably what I love most about Coldplay. His compositions on the piano and acoustic guitar. He's come up with some incredible piano stuff like Speed of Sound, Clocks. I love the piano in The Scientist. You hear it and it's like distinctive. Trouble, and those acoustic guitar chords that he plays with the different tuning, and it's very distinctive, and it's very Chris Martin, it's very Coldplay. I love that. I think Johnny Buckland is an underrated guitarist. Use of reverb, delays and effects, his use of those are great. Comes up with some very cool riffs. The guitar work on Don't Panic I think is great. It's not very technically difficult to play, but it's very nice to listen to. Recently Adventure of a Lifetime, which is quite fast actually. It's difficult to play. That's really cool. And again, it's distinctive. His sound is distinctive, and you know straight away that you're listening to him play. Bassline wise, a song that sticks out is Square One. Absolutely love the bass in that, and generally the bass grooves and the drums and the rhythm section are really good as well. Will Champion, great drummer. A few sort of like hip hop influences in there as well as rock, and yeah, all good. So that is what I love about Coldplay. I will be revisiting them at some point, but I hope you've enjoyed my Coldplay series. Let me know if there's anything you want to learn or want me to talk about and cover with Coldplay. Until next time, I will see you later.
Con might say, con might say, con